Welcome back, strangers. I'm Ethan with The Strangest. Today we're going to be discussing the most terrifying ghost photos. I know many people are quick to dismiss anything that has to do with ghosts, but I picked the ones I believe are the most authentic and the ones that have the creepiest backstories. Be sure to leave a comment letting me know which ones you think are real and which ones you believe to be fake. Have you ever gotten the feeling like there was someone behind you? The hair on the back of your neck stands up and you experience an unexplained rush of fear. But when you look back, there's nothing there. You're still all alone, unable to explain that sudden fear. What if you were able to photograph that moment and notice something in the photo that did not belong? On July 6, 2014, Martin Springall and his family were on a weekend trip to Zushi Beach in Japan. At the time, him and his family were living in Tokyo and enjoyed spending the weekends exploring the rest of Japan. Martin said, "I took a few pictures when we got there, and when I was looking through them that night, I noticed what appeared to be a pair of boots behind my daughter in one of the photos. I had taken several pictures of her in the same spot, but only one had the boots." Martin freaked out about the strange photo, but didn't mention it to anyone until later that summer when he was on a camping trip. Martin and his friend Brian Publicover were sharing creepy stories around the campfire like everyone does on a good camping trip. Martin showed Brian the photo, and the two couldn't explain it. Brian decided to share it on Reddit to see what others thought about the photo. He said in the post, "My friend took this pic of his kid in Zushi. He's a bit too disturbed by it all to post it himself. So I'm doing it because I'm fascinated by it and want feedback. I blurred the girl's face out, of course. Nobody was around when the photo was taken. Certainly nobody was behind her. I've known this guy for years and I trust him. It's definitely not been photoshopped, but I'm not saying it is anything." Many have suggested that the photo captured the ghost of a samurai because the beach is right across from an old samurai graveyard. Others have said that maybe the ghost of a World War II sailor who is often seen roaming the beach. Skeptics claim that this is just an ordinary guy behind her. There are a lot of rocks behind her in the different photos. Someone could have easily been walking out from behind one rock to the other, down by the beach, and this one photograph captures that moment perfectly. You can clearly see a blue shirt underneath her left arm that belongs to whoever is behind her. Martin replied, "My daughter is really shy, and she wouldn't have taken the picture if there was someone standing behind her, which I would have also noticed." Do you believe Martin photographed the ghost of an old samurai, or a World War II sailor, or was it simply someone walking between the rocks down on the beach? Do you know how to swim? The Centers for Disease Control say that 37% of American adults can't swim 24 yards, which is the length of a typical recreation center swimming pool. Swimming can be terrifying in places where you can't see the bottom, like in some lakes, rivers, and oceans. You never know what's down below you. In 2014, Kim Davison decided to go swimming on a beautiful day in Australia with her friend Jessie Lou and 3 kids. The group decided to swim at Murphy's Hole in Helidon. They had an amazing time and decided to take photos to remember their day. When Kim got home and went to share the photos online, she was shocked to see an extra unknown face in one of the photographs. She said, "At the time of taking the photo, there was nothing between us. I'm holding the little girl, and that white head next to me with horns is not human. I can promise you that. Its fingers are on my shoulder and on my daughter's arm. They are long, skeletal type fingers." Kim was so freaked out by the photograph that she shared it on the Toowoomba Ghost Chasers Facebook page in hopes of getting an explanation of what they photographed. One user said that the 2 horns in the photo actually look like 2 ponytails or buns. Another user shared the story of Doreen O'Sullivan, who accidentally drowned in the same spot the photograph was taken in November of 1913. Someone posted an original newspaper article from when it happened that read, "Little girl drowned at Helidon. Doreen O'Sullivan, aged 13 years, eldest daughter of Mr. James O'Sullivan, was accidentally drowned while bathing in the Lockyer Creek on Friday afternoon. Nearly an hour elapsed before the body was recovered. The spot, which has always been considered dangerous, is known as Murphy's Hole and is over 20 feet deep. The funeral took place on Saturday afternoon and was largely attended. The convent school children dressed in white, marching next to the hearse." Kim had such an amazing day with Jessie and the kids that she said she ignored strange feelings she had while swimming in the water. She remembered that she felt someone's presence behind her at one point. She even felt something in the water grab onto one of the kids' legs, but she ignored it, thinking it was just a current. but looking back she believes she felt the presence of Doreen's spirit in the water, trying to warn them of the danger in the water that day. Kim had paranormal experts carefully examine the photograph, and they concluded that the shape of the figure in the water was that of a child. Skeptics say that the image was caused by a splash of water and the reflection of the sun, or that the group didn't notice other children playing in the same area when the photo was taken. What do you think Kim and Jesse photographed that day? In 2008, Neil Sandbach was photographing a farm in Hertfordshire, England. He was a graphic designer and photographer who was working on a couple's wedding invitations. The couple were planning on getting married on the property later that year and wanted to have a picture of the beautiful farm on their invitations. Neil didn't experience anything strange while he was alone on the farm, but when he got home and started editing the pictures, he found something he couldn't explain. In one of the photographs, there was an almost ghostly figure in white, peering around a corner at him. It almost looks like a child, but Neil didn't see any children on the farm that day, or anyone else for that matter. He thought he had the whole place to himself. It was a quiet day, and no one was out working on the farm except for him. Neil showed the strange photo to the wedding couple who had hired him, and they asked the staff at the farm if they had ever witnessed anything spooky or unusual on the property. Before the couple mentioned the photograph, the staff said employees had reported seeing a young boy dressed in old white night clothes. He is most often witnessed by people who are alone near the barn. The owners of the farm didn't believe the property was haunted, but they couldn't explain the stories of the ghostly child in white. The area has no tragic history behind it that would explain the possible haunting. Neil's photograph has made the owners reconsider the possibility of the farm being haunted by the ghost of the young boy in white. Strangers, do you believe this is an authentic ghost photograph? Or did Neil accidentally catch a child trespassing and playing on the empty farm that day? Let us know what you think of this mysterious photograph in the comments below. New Orleans is such an amazing and unique city. When you visit, you're surrounded by all the strangeness that makes New Orleans one of the best cities in the world. The whole area is full of history, hauntings, and of course voodoo. You never know what you might encounter during a night in the Crescent City. Tujague's is the second oldest restaurant in New Orleans and is located within the heart of the French Quarter. The restaurant opened in 1856 and is said to be one of the most haunted places to grab a bite to eat. I don't know how I missed visiting there when we took a road trip to all the haunted places in New Orleans, but I'm pretty disappointed we didn't check it out. In 2014, Ian Wren and April Russ from West Virginia stopped to have an incredible dinner at Tujague's. They were drawn to the restaurant because of its famous food and knew it was a place they had to visit in New Orleans. They took a selfie while they waited for their food and were shocked to find what appeared to be a ghost hovering behind them in the photo. They posted the strange photograph to the restaurant's Facebook page in order to get an explanation of what they may have photographed. Restaurant owner Mark Latter replied believing the two had an authentic ghost photo of Julian Eltinge, Tujague's famous cross-dressing ghost. Julian was a famous actor during the silent film era and starred in Isle of Love with Rudolph Valentino. His cross-dresser alter ego, Vesta Tilly, was famous around town, and he was a regular at Madame Bouguet's, which eventually turned into Tujague's. A signed photograph of Julian hung in the restaurant until 2013, when the owner removed it during a renovation. Mark Latter decided to leave the old photo in the attic instead of putting it back on display, and that's when Julian's restless spirit began haunting the restaurant, showing up in guest photos, slamming doors, and breaking glasses. Finally, Mark rehung Julian's photograph and put the famous cross-dressing ghost at peace. Julian's spirit is not the only one fond of the attic. Employees say they feel like they are being watched whenever they are sent to the third floor. Many claim that the hair on the back of their necks begins to stand up when they start up the attic steps. Once a guest stole one of the old photographs from the attic and quickly returned it to the restaurant a week later. The guest said the photograph was cursed, and they wanted all the bad things to stop happening to them. After the guest stole the photo, his best friend had a stroke, and his wife was in a bad car accident. Strangers, would you visit the famous restaurant? It may have moved locations, or they're planning to move soon, so check it out if you have a chance. Have some of their famous brisket, along with their signature cocktails, the Grasshopper and Whiskey Punch. Be sure to take lots of photos, because you never know what you might find in your pictures. I know it's going to be one of my first stops the next time I'm in New Orleans. In August of 1975, Diane and Peter Below and their 12-year-old son visited Worstead Church in North Norfolk, England. They stopped in the church to take a break from the heat. Diane was on medication at the time for an illness, and she sat in a pew and prayed while her husband Peter photographed the old church. It wasn't until they returned home from their trip and had the photos developed that they discovered an extra person sitting behind Diane who appeared to be dressed in old-fashioned clothes and a bonnet. The family thought it was strange because they each remembered being the only ones in the church that day. The family saved the photo and brought it with them the following summer when they returned to the area again for their summer holiday. They stopped in the old church and showed the photo to Reverend Petite, the church vicar, who told them the legend of the White Lady. She is believed to be a caring spirit who appears when someone near needs healing. Diane said she felt a calm, tingling feeling whenever she looked at the photograph, which has now stopped since she is no longer ill and doesn't need medication. However, there's a much darker legend associated with the White Lady. She is believed to appear in the church every Christmas Eve, and anyone who would witness her would suffer an untimely death. In the 1830s, a man passing through town heard of this legend and thought it was a silly local superstition. So instead of continuing home for Christmas, he decided to stay in the church Christmas Eve and await the fabled White Lady. He joked that he would welcome her with a Christmas kiss if he witnessed her. He climbed the belfry and waited. He was gone for so long that his friends in town were worried and went to check on him. They found him curled up in a ball on the floor of the belfry, shaking in fright and talking to himself. They tried to help him, but he was weak and dying. They said he kept saying, "I've seen her, I've seen her," before he finally passed away. Today, a nearby pub is known as the White Lady Pub, and a photo of Diane and the White Lady is on full display inside. Strange things happen there. Lights turn themselves on and off, glasses move on their own, and people often experience the feeling of being touched in the cellar. Would you visit the White Lady Pub or the old church? Do you think the White Lady is still watching over patrons of the pub that bears her name? Thanks for watching, strangers. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video. It really helps me out a lot, and ghost videos like this usually don't do the best, but I thought these were worth sharing. Subscribe if you're new, and share this video with a friend. It really helps. And as always, stay strange. One of those has to work.